Good evening, distinguished guests and esteemed debaters. Welcome to tonight's debate on the abolishment of the death penalty. We have assembled two teams, each composed of three highly knowledgeable individuals. On the side arguing against the abolishment of the death penalty, we have Herish, Yit Hong, and Chusian. Representing the opposing viewpoint, arguing for abolishment, we have Pei Chi, Jacqueline, and Chao En. Let us begin. I am Umar, I am the moderator. Before we begin, each debater will have 1 to 2 minutes for their opening statements, followed by rebuttals and finally closing statements. We encourage our debaters to engage in a constructive dialogue. Jacqueline, would you be so kind as to begin by explaining your team's stance in favor of the abolishment of the death penalty?
Tonight we advocated for the abolishment of death penalty, a practice that challenges our moral conscience. As we discuss these critical issues, let us consider the inherent flaws of state sanction executions. I will begin by addressing the cost issues of continuing death penalties. Supporters argue that abolishing the death penalty could result in significant cost saving by redirecting resources from maintaining a capital punishment system to more effective areas such as crime prevention, law enforcement, or victim support. To issue and conduct a death penalty, it will require courtroom, lawyers, judges, juries, and the media and the police department. The legal process alone will cost a lot. Not only that, we are allocating precious court time as death penalty cases are extremely long and detailed. There have been concerns about case backlogs in Malaysian courts, leading to delays in the resolution of cases. Some high-profile cases in Malaysia have faced delays due to various factors, including the complexity of the case, the number of witnesses, legal technicalities, and the volume of evidence. According to abolitionists, redirecting funds from the death penalty system can be utilized to reduce socio-economic imbalance that may be an influence in criminal actions. By supporting community development, job training, and education initiatives, we may address underlying issues and lower the risk of criminal behavior. Above have concluded my points on why the abolition of death penalty should be supported.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Now, Chusian, please proceed to provide a rebuttal on behalf of the opposing team.
While it's indeed true that maintaining the capital punishment system can be costly, it's important to note that death penalties serve as an important part of our justice system. It ensures that criminals receive the most severe punishment for crimes they committed. This can be seen as an investment in our justice and public safety, making the system important to society, creating peace. You talk about the legal system efficiency. Yes, case backlog and high-profile delay are indeed valid. However, both of these doesn't affect or affected by the death penalty system. For example, for case backlog, these issues are systemic within the judiciary and not exclusive to the death penalty system. The death penalty system also doesn't affect the duration of the legal process of high-profile cases, as it only comes to play after a person has been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Not only that, you talk about death penalty as against human rights and an inhuman system. However, the death penalty system aims to uphold the human rights by protecting the rights of many individuals like their victims and their family. Seeing criminals punished and not able to harm anyone anymore within the death penalty system is a form of human right for victims and family, giving them closure and justice, allowing people to move on away from the crimes others have committed on them. In conclusion, the death penalty, while controversial, can be seen as a mechanism to uphold human rights in a certain context. It serves as a form of justice for victims and their families, providing them closure and sense of security. It's a testament to the fact that every action has consequences and severe crimes warrant severe punishments.
Chao, would you be so kind as to provide your perspective on this matter?
So I'd like to begin by saying that death penalties violates the fundamental human right. Let me begin by answering what is human rights. Human rights are rights inherent to all human beings, regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status. Human rights include the right to life and liberty, freedom from slavery and torture, freedom of opinion and expression, the right to work and education. Even a criminal is a human. It would be inhumane to disregard their rights to live and rob them of their chance to rehabilitate. According to Malay Mail, The recidivism rate or repeated crime among former prisoners nationwide decreased by 1% to 17.06% last year, compared to 18.06% in 2022. This proves that people can change for the better, and it is the government's responsibility to give a second chance for these offenders. Some might say rehabilitation is a farce, but rehabilitation is the only way to save a life and fix their wrongdoings. By issuing death penalties, we do not give a chance to these offenders to amend for their mistakes and learn to live a better life in our society, but rather robbing them of their freedom and a second chance. With that, I conclude my point.
Thank you, Chow En, for your statement. Now, Herish, do you have any response to Chow En's argument?
Ladies and gentlemen, according to what we have heard so far, it may seem that death penalties are expensive, brutal, and inhumane. But let us ask ourselves this: what is considered inhumane? The crimes that affect the lives of innocent citizens, or punishing a criminal for his crimes? For those who are unaware, death penalties are not something that is issued on a whim, but rather a punishment for those who have done something gruesome and life-altering crimes. Crimes that get you death penalties in Malaysia includes murder, drug trafficking, treason, act of terrorism, rape resulting in death, or the rape of a child. Do you not consider this as inhumane? Not only that, the opposition have brought up that the fact death penalties can be costly. According to Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Dr. Liu, it takes only 15 minutes and Rm 1975 to end the life of an inmate on death row. Shortly after that, he also mentioned that it cost the government Rm 38 to Rm 41 a day to house an inmate, or Rm 2.4 million a day for the total prison population. How is keeping them in jail cost saving? I would also like to point out that the death penalty only takes 15 seconds to be concluded. Some might say that it is wrong to solve violence with violence, but considering that it only takes 15 seconds to conduct the death penalty, I would say it is mercy compared to what they have done in their past. With that, I'm done presenting my point. Thank you.
We're approaching the end of our debate. Pei Chi, the floor is yours for a final summation on behalf of your team.
As we near the conclusion of today's debate, it's essential that we reflect on the gravity of the topic at hand. Ask yourself, is taking a life truly justice? When we respond to violence with more violence, fueled by anger and grief, are we upholding the law or enacting revenge? Retributive justice doesn't have to mean an eye for an eye. Life imprisonment can be a strong punishment with demonstratively high incarceration rates and significant time for reflection and repentance. Even if there's no punishment enough, does that justify perpetuating the cycle of violence and potentially making society less safe? Many argue that the death penalty deters crime. However, studies across the globe show no significant differences in murder rates between states with and without capital punishment. In fact, Canada showed a significant decrease of 44% in murder rates over the course of 27 years since the abolishment of death penalty in 1975. Instead of focusing on a symbolic act, shouldn't we be addressing the root causes of crime to truly make our community safer? Hence, we should be focusing on tackling broader societal issues like poverty, lack of opportunity, and educational gaps that contribute to crime. The time for death penalty is over. It's time to break the cycle of violence and invest in real solutions, not temporary ones fueled by revenge. We must choose the path of true justice, one that tackles the root causes of murder, that is poverty, inequality, mental health, whereby this path actually demands courage but leads to a future where life is sacred, not discarded. Let's abolish the death penalty and work towards a future where life is truly valued. Thank you.
Thank you, Pei Chi. Yi Hong, do you have anything to say in response to what has been spoken?
Throughout the history, our society has employed different forms of punishment to discourage criminals from unlawful action, and the death penalty is exactly the same as other punishment. The only distinguishing factor between death penalty and other forms of punishment lies in the gravity of its consequences. Whether or not we choose to abolish death penalty, it is important to retain its original form of punishment so that it can act as a safeguard to protect every one of us in the society. In 1973, a criminologist, Isaac Ehrlich, conducted a new kind of analysis showing that for every inmate who was executed, 7 lives were spared because others were deterred from committing murder. Although some might argue that the death penalty doesn't have a positive effect on the crime rate. However, this doesn't ultimately support the death penalty abolishment, as the death penalty is rarely used and it takes years to carry out the execution. The fact that some states or countries do not use the death penalty, have a lower rates, does not support the failure of deterrence, as states with higher murder rates would have even higher rates if they did not use the death penalty. In conclusion, although statistical evidence may not offer conclusive proof, but capital punishment is more likely to deter than other punishment, as people are often fear of death more than anything else. Thank you.
Thank you to all our debaters for their compelling arguments tonight. As the discussion comes to a close, we find ourselves unable to reach a definitive conclusion. We invite our audience to share their perspectives in the comments section, as your input will further enrich our understanding of this important topic. Thank you for joining us, and good night.